Welcome to Trial of the Hollywood Sex Therapist Killer, the harrowing and tragic story of Dr. Amie Harwick, who met a tragic end when she was allegedly thrown off her third-floor balcony by her stalker and ex-boyfriend, Gareth Pursehouse. Found clinging to life, but later succumbing to her injuries, Amie's death has raised many questions, with answers to be revealed in court. Join us as we dive deep into the ongoing trial of Gareth Pursehouse, the man accused of this heinous act, and as we seek justice for Amie.
She said that they didn't, but she felt like they would find out.
I'm stopping the video at 10 minutes and 53 seconds. Can you let us know all of the LA Fire Department's personnel that walked in at that point?
Yes, so the person in the very front was the captain for our engine company, Captain Dave Grijalva. I believe I was the second one to follow through. And then the two firefighters behind me were firefighter Majak and firefighter Brinson.
Continuing the recording at 10 minutes and 53 seconds. I'm pausing the video at 11 minutes and 10 seconds. Based on this, where I stopped the video, can you point out the personnel that you just named?
Yes. So the gentleman holding the flashlight, that's Captain Grijalva. He's also in charge of our radio comms, so he's the one talking on the radio right now to dispatch. This is firefighter Majak.
And on the bottom left corner, is that the victim as you observed her when you first walked in?
Right here, yes. This is the victim right here, how we observed her as we came in. I can't really see from this where I'm standing or where firefighter Brinson is.
Can you all see, ladies and gentlemen? Okay, you have a pointer there if you need a wooden pointer or something. Behind you. Below the screen, Megan.
Everyone's talking. What am I doing?
The pointer.
Behind your seat?
Yeah.
The wooden.
Oh,
You're looking for a laser.
I was looking for a laser.
Resuming the video in 11 minutes and 10 seconds.
He said he heard her screaming.
I'm stopping the video at 11 minutes and 32 seconds. I think I stopped it a little late, but there was someone, fire department personnel, standing over the body, touching it. Could you tell us what that person is doing?
That person is checking for a pulse.
Oh, page 12. Resuming the video at 11 minutes and 32 seconds.
Hey, so what we got right now is a female. It looks like she either fell, jumped, or was thrown from a third-story balcony. inmate that's here says he heard her screaming. He thought she was probably being attacked. But instead of going to check on her, he went out to the street, is what he's claiming. And I called police, and then he found her with the officers. There's some blood on his shirt, though. He says he doesn't think anyone else is here. So it looks, she's breathing right now, but she looks pretty bad.
I'm pausing at 12 minutes and 26 seconds. In the figure to the left, it's a little harder on the TV screen, crouched over the victim's body. Who is that?
I am crouched over the victim's body right now.
And what are you doing at that point?
I'm verifying that there actually is a pulse right now.
And was there a pulse at the time that you checked the victim?
There was a pulse.
Continuing the video at 12 minutes and 26 seconds.
Okay, we're going to do it. Yeah, she doesn't look too great. The balcony, it would be 2 full stories, 2.5. So like 20 feet, 25 feet. All right, Roger. Set.
I'm stopping the video at 12 minutes and 36 seconds. Faintly, we hear someone say, "Man, talk to me." What is it that you or one of the other fire department personnel is doing?
So right now I'm just trying to determine her level of consciousness. She was laying face down. We checked her pulse. I personally checked her pulse. She had a very, very weak and thready pulse. And very, very slow agonal respirations from my initial assessment. I'm now checking to see if I can wake her up, if she's going to respond to me either verbally, open her eyes, start talking to me. That's what I'm trying to determine right now. So by me saying, "Ma'am, can you hear me?" I'm trying to stimulate any of her senses to see if I can get any response from her.
You said that you checked for her pulse and that it was thready. Is that a bad indication?
Yes, that's very, very bad.
You talked about checking her respirations, is that correct?
Correct.
And how was that?
So she wasn't breathing normally. She was having irregular gasps, not normal exchange of normal tidal volume of breathing in and out. And that, along with her weak and slow pulse, are just signs that she is a very, very critical patient.
Did she respond to you when you were speaking to her, saying, "Ma'am, talk to me"?
No.
Is that also a sign of her critical state at that time?
Correct.
Continuing the video at 13 minutes and 26 seconds.
Hey, what's the number, sir? 2. Was that 2086? No.
Pausing at 13 minutes and 53 seconds. You're crouched next to the victim, is that correct?
That is correct.
What are you doing at this point?
So right now we have moved the patient from a prone position. She was lying on her stomach. We've turned her over, and we are now just going to start establishing some patient care. So right now we are with a fall for this height, and for a patient to be unconscious, we have to assume massive head injury. The potential for a various broken bones. We have to consider all these things. So we have carefully turned her over with protection of her head and neck in mind, and we are going to just start conducting our full assessment of her, along with the treatment, including securing her neck with a C-collar, removing her clothes, and checking for further injuries, and providing first aid and vital signs, everything that we can do for her prior to the ambulance arriving.
Why did you have to flip her from her back, or I'm sorry, from her prone position to being upright?
Because a natural position to assess a patient is not while they're laying on the ground with their face down and their stomach down. We have to put her in a position to open her airway if her airway was potentially closed, put her head and neck in an upright position so we can give her every chance to move air cleanly, and that requires her to be on her back, not on her stomach.
What do you do once she's on her back?
So once we turn her over and she's on her back, we keep in mind, we try to keep her head in line with the rest of her body. We raise her chin slightly so she has a good patent airway, and then we can just start conducting a rapid physical assessment from head to toe, and then initiate any care that we deem needed.
How do you do a rapid physical assessment?
So initially, for any trauma patient, we try to just do a brief, quick head to toe, looking at what the biggest things are. The biggest, by meaning like the most critical things that we can do. For someone who's unconscious, who has fallen from a 2-3 story balcony, and in this particular case, she wasn't breathing adequately. She's not perfusing adequately, meaning her heart rate is very, very low. So we know that she's critical. She's not pushing enough blood through her organs. She's not breathing enough. She's not oxygenating her brain enough. So we're quickly going through, and we need to try to fix that as much as we can. And then while we're doing that, we need to also assess for other damage that we can report to the paramedic ambulance when they arrive on scene, such as broken bones, other injuries that we notice. We just don't want to miss anything.
Proceeding the video at 13:53. I'm stopping at 15:07. There's an individual directly in the middle of the screen messing with what looks to be a device. What is he doing?
Correct. That is the captain right now, and he's opening up a oxygen cylinder, and he is turning the regulator on. That's the noise that you hear, that he's turning it, making sure that there's oxygen that's going to flow out of that. And he is, out of a bag, he is obtaining an adult bag valve mask, which is a device that is used when connected to the oxygen cylinder, will allow oxygen flow, continuous oxygen flow to a setting of our choice, and also comes with a tube that we can squeeze and actually breathe for the patient. It inflates their lungs at any given rate that we decide to depress it.
At this time, did you make a determination that the victim needed assistance breathing?
100%. She was not breathing adequately on her own.
Resuming the video at 15 minutes and 7 seconds.
If they go around the side of the house here too, it's a straight road.
I'm stopping the video at 16:17. It appears that you do a motion with both of your hands along the victim's entire body. What is it that you're doing?
So what we've done here is with any trauma victim, we remove their clothes. So I think she did have a nightgown or something on. So that I've cut off and removed, and I've also taken off her boots. I think she had some higher boots on as well. But for any trauma victim, it's important that we get eyes on their entire body, head to toe, with the exception of underwear, bras, that sort of thing, just so we can make sure that we don't miss anything. We want to make sure that we catch any injury that they may have sustained. So by me palpating her body, I'm just running through and I'm just assessing for broken bones, any like lacerations, punctures, any other sort of wounds that she may have received. And I'm just trying to do that very, very quickly so I can assess how bad she may be injured.
And did that sort of pat down of the victim's body reveal any sort of injuries?
Yes, it did.
And what sort of injuries were you able to glean from doing that?
So initially, you can even see that there was a pool of blood, which was coming from her nose and mouth area. That was pretty obvious just from seeing that. But once we removed the clothes and had her turned around, after assessing it, I did notice that she did have extensive deformity to her pelvic region, so her hips, waistline, all the way up to her neck. She had some disfigurement to her neck and collarbone area, and she had extreme softness and tenderness to her ribs and stomach region. Ribs meaning like it was being soft around that area, just indicative of possible broken ribs. And coming from a fall onto the pavement, right, that would be in line with what to be expected from a fall like that.
After cutting off the victim's clothes and doing that assessment, did you continue to believe that she was in a critical state?
100%.
Continuing the video at 16 minutes and 17 seconds.
Yeah, you guys said.
Yes. Okay.
Thanks for asking.
rescue agent too.
That was the first install. That's why I asked. What I don't like about the stories he said he had touch, I understand he comes down allegedly, but he could have come through the back door, right? He could have opened everything for you guys to come in.
Well, that's what he said. He says he came out and heard wrestling or like
third story. Yeah. They're going on with a couple others to see if they heard or see anything. No, just say someone once, but everyone's got through someone. We should ride them through this. Yeah, I'll get mine as we go. Hey. Yeah. Case of any kind of statements. Ride with her. Well, we'll get you. You guys are going to go to Cedars, I'm sure. Yeah.
I'm stopping the video at 20 minutes and 37 seconds. There's some chatter about going to Cedars Hospital. Is that where the victim is headed to?
Yes, based on the criteria of this injury, it's important that this victim goes to a trauma center. The only two trauma centers in this area would be County USC and Cedars. And based on the location of the residence, she would be qualifying to go to Cedars.
And at this point, what are you waiting for?
So right now we're just waiting for the ambulance to arrive.
And why did an ambulance need to arrive?
Because she's extremely critical. She didn't. We weren't dispatched with the paramedic ambulance to begin with. So we're pretty much just waiting for them to get there. We've taken over her breathing for her, and we're just kind of setting everything up so when the paramedics arrive, we can just load her on the gurney immediately, and then they can get going to the hospital.
Proceeding the video at 20 minutes and 37 seconds.
And yeah, if they go on the side of the house here, if there's no stairs or anything, it's easier for those. But it's more like a ramp. It's not born in 81, so 39, 80. Very, very faint.
Stopping the video at 24 minutes and 46 seconds. Who's just arrived into the residence?
The Rescue 82, the ambulance, has just arrived.
stopping the video at 26 minutes and 2 seconds. We hear, I believe it is you that says she has a blood pressure of like 60. Was that you?
Correct, that was me.
And what does that indicate to you?
So I'm basically just giving them a rundown of our findings right now. And, a blood pressure of 60 is just not sustainable for life. I've let them know that upon my assessment, I said that she's really soft all around here, meaning that she had softness to all of her entire thoracic region, where it shouldn't be soft, it should be rigid with bones. She was soft. And along with, with breathing for her and, the pulse and blood pressure, just relaying all the information we found to them.
And what are you and the two paramedics doing at this point?
So now what we're doing is we're securing her to a backboard so we can move her. We don't want to just lift someone up off the ground just with all of us putting our hands on them, because we don't know the full extent to all of her injuries. So for maneuverability, we place that red backboard underneath her so we could all lift her, and then we're going to place her on the gurney, and then we will secure her to the gurney.
Resuming the video at 26 minutes and 2 seconds.
Central Working Request 1 additional unit at 2086 Mount Street.
Yeah, probably. Quite possibly. Very weak, almost non-existent pulse. Quite possibly. Yeah. Okay, they're going to take her to Cedars. I got an officer riding with her just in case she does come to and have anything to say. We got, she probably fell from this balcony, but we got a loaded heroin rig up there. Roommate thinks there was someone here with her.
Now, Mr. Turner, at the end of that video, we see her being rolled away on a gurney outside of the backyard. What two paramedics was she accompanied by?
She was accompanied by paramedic Dane Lindstrom and paramedic Austin Smith.
From the moment you arrived at the residence to the moment that paramedics took her out of the residence on a gurney, did her critical state change at any time?
No, it did not change.
Was there any sort of improvement, in your opinion, based upon your treatment or assessment of her from the moment you first observed the victim to the time that she was taken away on a gurney?
No, she was fighting for her life.
Thank you. Nothing further. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Fireman Turner.
Good afternoon.
Thank you very much for your service. When you treated Amie Harwick, the person depicted in the videos, did you ever find that she lost pulse, a palpable pulse?
No, I don't believe she had lost her pulse completely.
If she had lost her pulse, would you have had to administer CPR?
Correct.
And you did not administer CPR?
That is correct.
Now, your unit was the first to arrive. That was an engine vehicle, correct?
Correct.
And you said on direct examination that an ambulance was not dispatched along with your engine. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Do you know why that was?
I have no idea. I believe I don't know what was said to whoever called 911 or what went down with the dispatch. So I don't know why one was not with us initially.
Based on your assessment of Amie Harwick when you observed her, was it your opinion she needed a rescue ambulance immediately?
She did.
Now, you were the person who was responsible for removing her outer clothing?
I removed her outer clothing.
Yes. So you cut off whatever that pink garment was that she was wearing?
I did.
And also some boots?
Correct.
And do you recall those boots? They were knee-high boots?
Yes.
And that was in order for you to be able to observe her body in a way that permitted you to do a full assessment of her condition?
Yes.
And did you also remove any jewelry from her?
I don't believe I removed any jewelry.
Okay. And you did not apply the C-collar yourself?
I don't remember if I actually put the C-collar on her neck. I don't know if it was me that actually did it or if it was one of the firefighters.
Okay. And do you recall anybody removing any jewelry from around her neck before applying the C-collar?
No, I don't remember anything about the jewelry.
When she was, so you didn't actually transport her to Cedars?
Me personally, no.
So your involvement with her care ended at the point where the rescue ambulance arrived and carted her to the rescue ambulance for transport to Cedars?
That is correct.
It appears in watching this video that there is a very deliberate and kind of methodical approach to how each of the paramedics and EMTs that responded approached Amie Harwick and began their assessment. Would you agree with that?
Would you repeat that again?
Well, I don't see a sense of urgency in the way everybody's approaching her. So I'm asking if that like a deliberate, intentional approach to take it very slow and assess her before moving her in order not to cause further injury, and because it appeared she needed to be evaluated more seriously rather than immediately just dive in and start administering aid.
I mean, we arrive and we still have to gain our bearings on what's happening right now. So it may appear to look like it's a long time for you, but right now there's a bunch of things going through our heads. You know, we have to assess, we have to piece together this puzzle and figure out kind of what happened and then initiate care. She looked unresponsive and dead just by looking at her from the doorway. As we step closer, it's dark outside. As we step closer, we see, okay, wait, there are some forms of life. She is like faintly breathing. And then we can't just move her over. We have to carefully move her. We have to set up the oxygen tank. We have to open up bags of equipment, and we have to connect them to the oxygen and prep them. We have to take care of our own body substance isolation. So there's just a number of steps that need to happen before we can just sort of dive in and just start running around.
Okay. And so part of that was PPE you were talking about, personal protective equipment also is necessary when you're approaching a person who's in distress and in need of medical care.
Yeah.
So all of these things were were part of your deliberative effort to assess her and determine what care she was in need of at that time.
Correct.
Thank you. Nothing further.
Any regret?
Just briefly, do you think you were moving with a lack of urgency at this situation?
No, I don't think we moved with a lack of urgency. In fact, it was very urgent. But there's also just a limited amount that we can do.
Do you believe that you were acting appropriately as the situation called for? In other words, treating the victim who was in a critical state at the moment?
Yes, absolutely. Once we determined that she had a pulse and that she did have agonal respirations, we got the oxygen and started breathing for her.
Thank you. Nothing further.
Anything based on those?
No.
All right. Thank you. You mentioned that, John.
Thank you.
All right. May I call your next witness?
The people call Mr. Dave Lindstrom.
All right. If you could step to the witness stand, raise your right hand.
You solemnly state that the testimony you're about to give and the cause now pending before this court should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. Please have a seat. Please state and spell both your first and last name.
Dane Lindstrom, DaneLindstrom.
All right, counsel.
Thank you. What do you do for a living?
I'm a firefighter paramedic with the Los Angeles Fire Department.
And was that your assignment back on February 15th of 2020?
Yes.
What are your duties as a paramedic?
We respond to EMS emergencies to treat citizens and travelers through the city of LA.
And what's your background, training, and experience that qualifies you to be a paramedic?
I have a license. I'm certified as an EMT and licensed through the state and nation as a paramedic, as an EMT paramedic.
Now, on February 15th of 2020 at around 1:54 in the morning, were you at the location of 2086 Mound Street in the city and county of Los Angeles?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. Now, why were you there on that date and time?
We were called to respond to a fall.
Now, when you received that call, did you immediately report to the scene?
Yes, we did. We were upgraded by an engine, but we were told it was up in the Hollywood Hills, so we had to back our ambulance in, so there was a little bit of delay getting to the scene. But yes, we went from the station to the scene.
And what do you mean by you were upgraded from an engine? What does that mean?
So the initial dispatch was an engine only, and I was on the ambulance that day. So an engine arrives there first on scene, and they make an assessment of what they need, whether it's an EMT ambulance or a paramedic ambulance. They felt the need for paramedics to arrive on scene, and so they radioed our dispatch to add one, and that was us.
And did you report to this scene alone or with somebody else?
With a partner.
And who was your partner at the time?
Austin Smith.
Now, can you describe what you observed when you arrived on scene?
Let's cancel this.
Sure.
All right, counsel.
Thank you. When you arrived on scene, did you transport somebody by ambulance?
Yeah.
And when you transport that person by ambulance, where did you transport that person to?
To reconfirm, I need to check my report, but I'm pretty sure Cedars-Sinai Medical Center.
Okay. And when you
want to check your report just in case?
Can it be thrown up in front of me just so I don't say something out of it?
No, I mean, it's
Cedars-Sinai, but if we're going to go deeper into questions.
No.
Okay. Now, was your observation of the victim at the time you transported her was she critical?
Yes.
Now, did you conduct an assessment of that person while in the ambulance?
Yes.
Now, you said there was somebody else with you. What was your partner doing at the time?
Exactly. So both of us would have been working on the patient if she was a critical patient.
And the reason why both of you were working on her is because she was critical?
Yes.
Now, can you talk about the assessment or your assessment of her condition while in the ambulance during transport?
Objection has to answer.
Oh, critical, but I mean, you mean something more specific?
Yes.
Okay, are you able to differentiate between critical and something else?
Sure. So it was a fall victim, so we would do what's called a trauma assessment. So, I mean, we're going to do a head-to-toe assessment to see any breaks, bleeding. The big things are to take care of the ABCs, airway, breathing, and circulation. If she's not breathing, then we're going to check what's broken, what's injured, and go for a full head-to-toe to give the a report to the hospital to kind of transfer care and what we can treat in the field, if that.
Would you say your assessment in the back of an ambulance is more thorough than that of an assessment that would be done at an actual crime scene?
Objection, Your Honor, calls for speculation.
Do you know how to answer that? Can you answer that?
So we are going to assess and reassess. So when we find somebody on scene, we're going to get an initial assessment. But always, once we get them back in the back of the ambulance, we're going to give a reassessment to see if we missed anything, if it's dark, if we didn't roll the patient, if they woke up, if something changed.
Did she wake up at any point?
No.
Was she unconscious the entirety of the transport from the location to Cedars-Sinai?
Yes.
And based on your head-to-toe assessment, were there any injuries that you observed on the decedent? I'm sorry, not the decedent, the victim?
Yes. Can I refer to my report to list them?
Well, I think that they've already been described.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
Okay. And so based on her injuries, did you observe that she had broken bones, for instance?
Objection, Your Honor. I think that was beyond the ability to assess probably.
Well,
the suspicion that...
I'm not sure that it is. I'll find out. Are you able to tell whether someone's bone is broken, a particular bone or what have you, just by feeling the body or what have you?
We can suspect broken bones if there's nothing popping out of the skin, but yes, we're looking for crepitus, which is grinding or popping, so we're pushing hard on bones to see if they're going to rebound or crunch or squish, I guess you could say, for lack of a better word.
All right.
And did you, scrunch on bones, I guess?
She had several regions of her body that were unstable, so that should not have been as... I mean, we're squishy when they should not have been.
Is that a legal term, squishy?
Right.
No, I'm sorry. Yeah, they were unstable when they should have been stable. Would be the best.
And was this could you name a region of the body in which she was squishy, as you would call it?
Yeah, I believe her. I mean, once again with the report, her pelvis and her rib cage were unstable.
Gotcha. Okay. Now, you said you assessed her for her airways. I believe you said breath and something else?
Airway, breathing, and circulation, yes.
At any point, did her airways change, the condition of her airways, from the moment you picked her up to the moment you dropped her off?
So upon our arrival on scene, the engine was already breathing for her. So we were assisting respirations with a bag valve mask, so we continued to assist her respirations the entire time.
Now, is there any other injuries that you were able to
Again, I can contemplate what your question's going to be based on the sidebar conversation we had. The court's going to, in the post, it's on the Jackson under 352. Let's
Okay.
move on, if you would.
That's fine, Your Honor. Did her condition remain critical at the time of drop-off at Cedars-Sinai?
Yes.
Did you remain at Cedars-Sinai?
We had to linger. For me personally, I like to look in on trauma patients to see what they do, and also I have a report to fill out. I was too busy tending the patient, so I had to do all my paperwork afterwards.
But her condition did not change whatsoever?
Upon the time we found her to when we dropped her off, no.
Thank you. Nothing further.
Cross-examination.
Just a couple questions.
All right.
Hi. It's going to be so short, I'm not going to even walk over there.
Okay.
So when you were caring for this critical patient, were you the one who actually put the seat collar on?
I don't believe so, no. I think that would have been on before we got there.
Okay. And did you remove any personal items from this individual's body? Amie Harwick was her name. Did you
So we would have cut her clothes off. That would have been, if we're considering those personal items. We're not going to take jewelry or anything unless it gets in the way of our treatments, but we would have removed her clothes.
Okay. And would necklaces be considered something that would want to be removed prior to administering a C-collar?
Probably yes. If it gets in the way, but you can also fit a C-collar over the necklace as well.
Okay. And patient also had palpable pulses the entire time she was in your care?
I believe so, yes.
And if she had lost pulses, would you have administered CPR?
Yes.
Thank you. Nothing further.
Anything?
No, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. You may step down. Appreciate it. You may call your next witness.
The people call Ms. Natasha Paulson.
All right.
More of the trial of the Hollywood sex therapist killer is on the way. Press subscribe now so you don't miss a moment of this riveting courtroom drama as we seek justice for Dr. Amie Harwick.